Hello everyone, welcome. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Google Lens, and it's one app by Google that is actually underestimated and underutilized, by almost everybody and especially educators. So I want to talk about Google Lens for educators. I'm going to be showing you like 5 hacks that you can use on the go when you're in a tight corner and you need to save time and you need to do things in a hurry. So we're going to be looking at how to use Google Lens to do many things. So what is Google Lens? So here on this side is the icon for Google Lens, as you can see. And when you open your Android phone, you can see it beside the Google logo on your search interface. So it is a visual search tool that is powered by AI, and it lets you search images instead of words. That's fantastic, isn't it? You can use it to search images instead of just searching words. Just point your camera at any object, whether text, whether a plant, could be a place, could an any object whatsoever, and Lens will identify the object instantly. It is built into Android phones. So if you're using Android phone, you don't have any problem. Just open your Google search interface and you see it right beside the Google logo. For iPhone user, you can find it via Google Apps. You can access it via Google Images. And it was originally launched in 2017, and it processes billions, of data worldwide. So, so one thing that is very instructive about the Google Lens is that it has been it has incorporated into it the Gemini AI, and so when the lens identifies, Gemini will explain, and that is exactly what happens when you use Google Lens. So Lens will spot the objects or even the text that you want. Gemini will generate explanations, can generate quizzes for exams or tests, lesson notes, activities, just about anything. Once you prompt it well, once you capture the image, then you put a prompt, and that can turn, a single image into a full learning experience or resource, as the case may be. Google Lens can also be used for real world learning. It's check on, photograph real objects in the classroom or even outside. Maybe you're on a nature walk or you have gone for an excursion, and then maybe there's something that you have come across that the students don't know, they don't understand, or you as a teacher don't know or don't understand. You can easily point your Google Lens and see it, and then the Gemini will generate whatever you want. Could be a curriculum to teach it, could be an activity that you can do around it. It could be explanations, you know, about what the thing is about. The explanation to make you, really understand what the thing is about right on the spot. Google Learn is also very good for languages. It supports over 100 languages, and it can help to create localized explanations, for our context. It is very good for multilingual contexts. And of course, we can do so many things with Google. And so in this tutorial, I'm going to be talking about 5 hacks that teachers can use. So don't go away, and I'll be showing you practically on my Android phone how this can be done. Thank you. Yeah, the first hack we are going to be looking at is how to convert handwritten notes into digital form. And in case you are wondering why you might need to do that, I'm going to show you some scenarios why an educator might need to convert handwritten notes to digital forms. And immediately afterward, I'm going to show you how to do just that on your phone. So one reason why you might need to convert handwritten notes is because you might want to summarize something that you have written, or you might want to explain it, want less to explain it further, or you might want to translate it. So once Lens digitizes the handwritten text, the AI in it can summarize it, can break it down into simpler language, or it can translate it into another language, at the snap of the fingers. Another reason why you might do that is you could change search to a quiz. You could generate objective questions from it. You could generate theory questions from it. Depends on what you have in mind. For example, if you have written something on the board and maybe some students are not around, they're absent for the day, you could scan it with Google Lens, convert it into digital form, and then send, via WhatsApp or via Google Classroom, so that you don't have to start typing, all over, or maybe from scratch. Then you could digitize student handwritten assignments. For example, essays, you can scan them with Google Lens, convert to digital form. For record keeping, could be you might want to run it through a grammar uh, checking tool like Grammarly. You might want to run it through plagiarism to like turn it in. And then maybe you have jotted some ideas, maybe in a meeting, or maybe you are brainstorming, or maybe you could be in a bus or something. You have some idea that came to you anyway, and then you have jotted it down. Then you can use Lens to capture it and turn them instantly to digital form, and then you can now format it and elaborate on it for whatever use that you might have for it. You don't have to start typing from scratch. If you have a brainstorming session with students, maybe you have a paper-based brainstorming activity, you can scan all the students' ideas using Lens, and then to help you to compile them, organize them into structured class documents. So another scenario is you could digitize feedback on handwritten forms. Maybe you give forms out to students to fill, so you can scan it with Lens, and Lens will help you to collate or analyze the information as the case may be, so you don't have to do any manual data entry. So those are some of the scenarios that you might just want to change something to, digital form. And then once you do that, copy it from Google Lens, go and paste it on your Word document or your Google documents, and you can use it for whatever it is so I would like to use it for. So the list can be endless, and every teacher will need to determine their own use cases. And so that is the truth. So see, these are just to whet your appetite to see the endless possibilities of things that we can do with Google. And so quickly, we are going to be looking at the practical way of doing this on.
In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the Google Lens to copy text into, to change into digital form. So as you can see, I'm on my home screen of my phone, and that is the Google icon on one side. If you look at the other side, you're going to see the Google Lens icon. Let me show you via a screenshot that I took. So that is the Google Lens icon that I pointed with a red line. I hope you can see that. So that is the icon. And if you also look at this other one. That is also the icon that I pointed at with a red line. This is when you go via your Google Chrome. So for example, if you go via your Google Chrome and then you get to this place, that is the Google search on one side, and that is your Google Lens icon. So I think that settles that. So now I'm going to go back to my own page, and then I'm going to go straight to opening it. So I just click on it, and once I click on it, I have it. There it is. So for example, this is a scheme of work. I think it's a nursery, and I want to copy the text, handwritten text. So I'll just click on select, and once I click on select, you see the blue selection space, that blue lines, the blue space that helps us to copy anywhere, even on Word documents. So as you can see, I have done that. So the next thing I will do is to ensure that that blue space covers up anything I want to copy, and that's it. So I can now click on copy from here. Once I click on copy, if you have Google Documents, then you can go paste on Google Documents, and if you have Microsoft Word on your phone, you can go copy there. And if you want to paste on WhatsApp, that is another thing, you can paste on WhatsApp. For me, I'm going to open my Word, and then I'll open a new document. This is my Word, Microsoft 365. Then I'll click on the plus, then I'll click that, and then I'll long press on that space. Once I long press, you can see the paste. So as you can see, voila, I already have my text handwritten. So the thing to do is just to ensure that your handwriting is a bit clear. Ensure that it's a bit clear, and that is it. So you don't have to start typing from scratch. You can just edit and number it, as you like. I can now save my documents. I can save it. I can give it a name as I want. And if you don't have Microsoft Word, you can go to your Google document. We are going to be learning about Google Documents soon. And then that is my Google document. The same way, I'll click on the plus sign to give me a new document. I can take new document file or new Word file, and then so that it can easily synchronize with your Word when you take it. So voila, that's it. You have already copied handwritten, and it has become digital, and then you can do whatever you like to do with it. We have lots of scenarios why you might need to convert digital, to convert handwritten to digital form. And for example, if you see something that you like, you want to use in your class, you can quickly snap it, and then from there go to Google Lens. So it also works for images that you have snapped. So for example, as I guess taking it directly from the book itself, I can just go to my gallery, and then I can take something that I'd snapped earlier on, like this. I've snapped the other parts of the curriculum, and then I'll click on this place, this icon here. When you see this icon here, you see Google Lens here. So from there, you can adjust the lens to cover the side that you want. So now I've adjusted that to cover the second term. You can see it is asks about this image. So if you want it to read this image and tell you about it, just ask. This is the place you ask. If you want it to summarize, if it is a text that you want it to summarize, you can say summarize this text. If it is a problem that you don't know how to say, you can ask the question there and say, solve this question for me. What is the answer to this? You can see how do you solve this. You see so many options that people have already put there. So but for now, I just want to copy. So I'll make sure that I adjust the lens to cover up whatever text that I need to copy. Then I'll select. Once I select and it has come up with the blue lines, then it is ready to be copied. Then I can click copy, and then the same way I can go back to Google Documents or Google or Microsoft Word, depends on what you are using. So this is another one. I can use document, I can use Word. So let's say I pick this, long press, then paste, and that is it. And then you can easily edit and use for what you want. As I said earlier on, we can actually do a lot of things with copied text, or we can add lens to do many things with whatever it has scanned for us. So for example, I'm going to be showing you another text now. Watch what happens. I'm going to ask Google Lens what this is about. So the last icon on my right is what I'm going to press, and that is where I will find the Google Lens in case I'm working with an image. And then you see that Google Lens will scan it. Once it scans it, we'll have something like this. So if we want to copy, that is when we'll press select. But if not, we can just ask about the image. So I can say, what is this image about? What is this image about? And then it will come up with things. So as you can see, it is generating, and then it is explaining to us what the image is likely for. Now if you want to get depth more in-depth explanation, just click on dive deeper. So once you dive deeper, it will actually give you more explanation. You can see in this case it has tabulated it, and it's trying to explain to us everything on that image, that it is like a curriculum for business study or commerce, and week 1, week 2 up to week 12 for the examinations. And then of course it will have to follow up questions. So while we are doing like this, we are already working with Google Gemini. So that is what is in operation. So underneath you can see copy, you can see share, you can see thumbs up and thumbs down. So that is what that dive deeper in AI is. So now in case we don't want to do that, assuming we just want to do something else, so I can go back to the image, I can tell it to scan it, so, or I can re upload it to Google Lens, and then I'll start over, and then here is it again. So in this case I can say this is a curriculum for, this is a scheme of work for business studies, for business studies, GSS 1. So business studies GSS 1. So I can say generate 20 object quizzes from it, 20 objective quizzes with 4 options from it. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, it has generated 20 multiple choice questions. So you can see the options. As you can see, the questions are already generated. Of course, anytime we work with AI, we always need to check, we need to edit, we need it to make it our own by going through, and we can dive deeper. Let me dive deeper, and that's it. So you'll see it will redo the questions in more formatted way, and you have the ability to copy. You have the chance to copy directly without using the copy highlights. So you can share, you can like it, you can dislike it, and you can also tell it to give it theory questions. So some of those are some of the things that we use Google Lens for on the go. When we are really in a hurry or we are in a tight place, we cannot waste so much time. So that is what it is for.
The next hack that I'm going to be showing you is copying text from printed matter. So we could copy text from textbook, from magazine, from newspaper, could be from anywhere, any printed matter whatsoever. So it's just a matter of pointing the lens on it, and we'll go on and do whatever we wish to do with it. So for example, there are some situations in which you might need to do just that, and I've collated some examples just to show you the enormous potential that you can use Google Lens, to achieve. So, for example, if you want to pull a passage for comprehension and for any language um, subject, for example, English language, Yoruba language, Igbo, Hausa, or even French, Spanish, anything. So, assuming you have a textbook and maybe you have seen a passage that you love to use for activity for the students, or you want to use it on a lesson slide, you want to use it for a worksheet, you want to use it to give them assignments, or you want to use a passage in an examination as the reading passage. So you don't have to type the whole thing. Lens will extract it for you in seconds. So that is one thing we can also use Lens to do. Another thing is to adapt a printed activity digitally. So if you have found something useful, or you have found an interesting exercise that you'd love to give to your students, and it is in a printed matter, it could be a book or anything, as I've said earlier, then you can use Lens to copy the text, and then you can then adapt it for your class. You can reformat it, you can edit it, you can personalize it as needed. Another scenario that you might find yourself copying, from a printed matter using Google Lens is if you want to take a section out of that document. For example, if it is a printed school memo or maybe a policy document, and you want to quote from it. For example, you are writing a mail and you need to quote part of that policy or memo in an email or in a report. So you can just use Lens to digitize the exact place, text that you want. Just point your lens at it, select that particular area and copy, and then paste in the body of your email or whatever it is that you are doing. So there's no manual typing, required. You just go on, flawlessly. So another scenario is when you adapt a printed exam paper. For example, if you want to do mock exam for students, and maybe you want to use past questions of common entrance, past question of GSS, past YA question, you want to adapt them. So it will just take the pointing of the camera to such questions that you want, and then you can digitize it in seconds. So, and to be very quick and accurate, you can repurpose it, you can reformat it, you can edit, you can change figures in it, you can edit it to meet some context that the students are familiar with in your area. You can also capture a quote with Google Lens, maybe on a wall, a poster, a flyer, or maybe there is a definition that is catchy that you'd like to share with your students. So you can spot such, quotes, and then you can point a camera to it. You could use search in your lesson notes, use it maybe in your presentation if you're using slides and projectors in your school. So it's just a matter of scanning with the lens to be ready for use in seconds. And just like I mentioned earlier on, the list can be endless. So you have to determine your own use cases, and depends on your context, depends on the things that you are doing. But all this are just to show you the enormous um, potential that Google Lens possess.
So yes, we can also copy from printed matter just as we said earlier on, and then we'll go straight to our Google Lens icon, press on it. In this first case, I'm trying to copy from a French textbook. As you can see, so many options are up. You say select text, you say translate, and that is very, also very useful for teachers. Before I will translate this text, I'm going to copy. I'm going to select it first, and then I will select the area that I want to copy. Once that is done, then I can press on copy, and then I can go to my documents or WhatsApp, anything that you like. So this can be very useful for French teachers. You will have a passage that you need to copy for use in the class, maybe for reading passage in your French exam. You can easily do that. Just long press and paste, and we'll have the French text. It can be a passage, so you will easily edit it for your use case. In the same vein, I can also copy, of course, from an English textbook. Like this is a story. I can do this. I can select the up to the place that I want. If I want the whole page, I'll do that. And if it's just a paragraph that I want, depends on exactly what I want to do. So as you can see, I'm trying to copy the whole page, and that is that. I'll now click on copy, and then I'll go and paste in my preferred word processor. I'll click on the plus icon to give me a new document, and then I'll long press and paste. So there we have it. Another thing, of course, we can also even copy from Yoruba. So I'm going to be doing that. This is Yoruba textbook. I can select, and as I told you earlier on, I can also copy from screenshots. That is my own favorite way of doing it, because I found that doing it, straight on the material sometimes can make it unstable. If your hands are not steady, just like me, it might give a little problem. So right now I'm going to go to my gallery, and I'm going to be taking my screenshots from there. So here I have Yoruba. I'll go to the icon on my right. I'll open my Google Lens, and now I have it. So I always like to do it like this, because then I have, something stable to not be shaking about. And you can see that it has translated. I think that was because I pressed translate earlier on. So this is a translate. You can see the translate button beside the select button. So if you check very well, you will see that the text from Yoruba has been translated to English. Whether the context is correct or not is now another thing, because we should note that AI are still in the process of training, especially for languages that are not modern European languages, and the translation might not exactly capture what is there. So I'm not going to vouch for this particular translation, but the bottom line is that it translated. But if you take the French textbook, then we'll see that we're going to get a more accurate translation, because then you are trying to translate from English to French or from French to English. So I'm sure that will be more accurate. So I'm on my text, and then I can click on translate, and then we can see it. Yes, smiling, she's beautiful, she's shy. Straight from what we had initially. Let's look at what we have, and then let's check with the translation. So I hope you can see that. Then we're going to go to translate now. So let's see what we have. I'm going to go to the text alone. Maybe the camera can focus. Then I'll click on translate. Okay, I think some parts are cut off. It's meant to show that this is Emeka. He's funny, he's smiling, he's nice. And here, this is Fanta Barbara. She's smiling, she's beautiful, she's shy. So I think I can vouch for this translation, French to English or vice versa. So that is how we do this. Now, if you copy an English passage from maybe a textbook or a storybook, you can easily ask the AI to generate questions from it. So if you have a reading comprehension passage, maybe from this material, no, not this material. Let me take one. We can go straight, and from here I can tell the AI to summarize what is on this page. The lens will scan it and transfer to the AI, and it can easily summarize this, and then it will give a summary of what is happening. So it has given us a summary of everything on that page. It's talking about the setting, the conversation, the father's communication style, and all that. Then another thing you could do with it, you could say generate comprehension passage question from it. Generate comprehension passage. Of course, we have to be definite. So I can say generate 5, or let me say 3 questions, 3 comprehension question, comprehension for age 6 or maybe age 11, and let's see what it will do. So it has come up with a question, as you can see. Question 1: where was the narrator sitting when Dede and Mama returned from the market? You can dive deeper, as I said earlier on, and it will even structure the question, further. It will give you the explanation, and you'll be able to copy it directly from the app.
So the next hack which I'll be looking at is solving mathematics problems with Google Lens. And for me, this is by far the most interesting and most useful. I so love this aspect of Google Lens as it helps teachers to save quite a lot of time, as we shall see in the next few minutes. Why would a teacher need Google Lens for solving mathematics? As I've said, it's very, very useful for saving time, especially during reading. That is a very, very fantastic um, use to which you can put it, because the whole idea is to get more efficient. So anything that can help teacher to save time, that is a very good and useful tool indeed. The teacher can quickly verify a student's work. We want to see what the student has done quickly without having to solve everything from the beginning. We want to see whether the steps the student used is correlating with the answer that they have obtained. You can also use Google Lens to find alternative explanation methods, and then, of course, to access step-by-step breakdown of a mathematical um, solution to a problem. So let's delve into it in more details. Rapid grading and verification has to do with when the teacher has many homework or assignments to mark, with many problems on each. For example, in African contexts, we have some scenarios in public schools where we have over 50 students in the class, even more than that in some cases. So lens will allow teacher to quickly scan student handwritten answers and thereby verifying the accuracy without having to do the work every step, of the way. So of course this speeds up the feedback loop, very, very significantly, and which is what we are trying to achieve. Then sometimes there are some very good students that might come up with some unusual method of solving a problem. Some method that even the teacher might not, be used to. So if you are in doubt, you can snap search with a Google Lens, and Google Lens will confirm to you if that method is actually, valid, if it is an acceptable method. So if the student arrives at the correct answer using a method that is not standard, that you are not even familiar with, then you can use the lens to check whether the logic holds, or to see the standard pedagogical approach for comparisons. Another reason we use Google Lens for mathematics is when we need step-by-step explanations. If you have used Google Lens to solve mathematics, you will see that it goes to a great deal of length to do the work step by step. So especially when we are helping struggling students who cannot see their mistakes and who seem to think that whatever you have done on the board is a bit complicated. They can't just seem to be able to, follow the steps. So you can solve the problem, and then the teacher can use the step-by-step breakdown from Google Lens to pinpoint to them how the work is done or where their mistake lies, so that they will be able to correct themselves in the next problems. Then if you are like on the go in the moment tutoring, and that is to say that when you have one-on-one session with a student, and if you are temporarily stuck, which is possible, which happens, quite a number of time on a complex problem. Maybe it is not very common. Maybe it is multi-step word problem that is a bit complicated, and the teacher gets stuck. Then you can scan the problem to Google Lens and you get a quick refresher on the necessary steps. So once you snap it, you quickly look at it, you see the step and you see where you have got stuck, and then you continue, your explanation and tutoring of the students without losing momentum. So that is what I personally love about Google Lens. It's something you can use on the go when you're in a tight corner. You can do it without losing any momentum. It just happens within seconds. You quickly snap the work and then voila, you can see how to solve the problem. Then you can use it to create quick answer keys. If you want to create fast practice quiz for your students, you can use Lens to generate such questions, and then with the answer keys, whether from handwritten drafts or whether from printed matter, it will save a lot of preparation time. So you can generate your marking scheme, you can generate questions, quizzes, and the marking schemes. So the answer keys are the ones that we particularly use for objectives. And you can tell Google Lens that this is my total mark for this quiz, maybe 60, and then generate a marking guide, award scores as necessary. It could do that, and then when you look at it, you can tweak with it, you can change anything you like, but you will not be starting from zero. The whole idea is that you have something, to start with, to save time with, and then you can have questions, you can have marking guide, all within seconds. And then you can also use it to analyze common mistakes. So by scanning several students' wrong answers to the same problem, you can identify if the class is consistently missing a specific step or misunderstanding a foundational concept. So this will enable you to have a targeted reteaching. So when you are reteaching the topic, you already know exactly where to dwell on, where to, elaborate on, so that the students get exactly what you are trying to teach them. And then we can also use it to digitize physical problems. So if you find a very good problem, an excellent question that you like, maybe in an old physical textbook, you can use Learn to instantly convert the printed image into editable text for a digital worksheet or exam. So just like we have explained in the first in the second hack, so there's no retyping at all. You are not starting from zero, but you already have something to start with. So you're not going to start typing from scratch. So we have problems in textbooks and printed matter that you used to use for workbooks, for examples, for maybe digital exam. I mean, you can easily copy it and then you take it to your document where you will format and use for whatever you want to use it for. And this particular one scenario is what I also love so much, because as teachers, we should upskill ourselves in technology and AI. And in the same vein, we should also begin to engage our students with technology so that they to become adepts in it. So if you show students how to use Lens to check their own work, maybe when they are at home, maybe you give them an assignment, and when they are through with it, they use Lens to check it out. That's fantastic. It will shift the focus from getting the answer to checking the process. So it is not just about getting the answer. Some textbooks have answers at the back, and some students will just do some, non-valid steps, so to say, and they just put the answers there. But that, especially if they don't understand the work that they have been given. But in this case, if they do anything, they could scan it, and Google Lens will surely show them all the steps that are needed, and then they can correct themselves for the next problems that they might have. There are some topic specific scenarios. For example, algebra, calculus, for example, especially maybe in higher mathematics from essays, we are talking of other maths, we are talking about maybe um, college, university. You can quickly scan a long equation with multiple variables, or maybe word problems that has many unknowns. So without resolving the entire problem from scratch, you can quickly check if the answer is correct. And then the same thing with geometry, that has to do with diagrams, shapes. So you will scan a handwritten geometry figure, and you can instantly solve the problem. The lens will identify the required formula. It will tell you that this is the formula for this shape, and to show you the step-by-step ways of calculating such. Interestingly, Google Lens also supports other STEM subjects, not just mathematics, and that is so fantastic. Biology, for instance, Google Lens can help teachers to visualize inner cell structures, to visualize identifying the flora and the fauna of the structure, the plant structure, with about 92.6% accuracy. In physics, for example, Google Lens can solve word problems by identifying the known and the unknown values and suggesting formulas that can be used, without motion, energy, and all that. The same thing in chemistry. Google Lens can explore the periodic table and 3D models of atoms, which is very good, including the quantum mechanical model. I think that is fantastic. So we don't have any excuse for our students, not to understand what we are teaching in this time and age. As teachers, we should upskill ourselves. We should uh, make sure that we use technology as far as possible to make our work easier and to make the students to gain the most from our lessons. So astronomy, you can talk about geography, history, so many things that Google Lens support. So lastly, I'm still going to end this session by saying that the list is endless. It is endless. You can do so much with Google Lens. Just determine your own use case and use it well.
So now we're going to look at using lens for solving mathematics questions. In this case, I'm going to go take one question from my gallery. So assuming that you snap maybe snapped a picture from a textbook, or you highlighted a particular question maybe from a common entrance textbook, or maybe from JSS3 revision textbook, or maybe any question from WAEC. You can zoom in on one question and you can take a whole page. It depends. You can easily just solve a question, or you can solve many questions on a page. Like right now, I have this one from a theory question for GSS1. So as you can see, it has been highlighted. So I can just go straight to ask about the question. I can say solve this problem for me.
So solve these problems and then I'll send. And as you can see, it is generating. So you can see it has already solved the questions. And you will see it is a step-by-step solution. It will explain every step. If you like, you can tell it to generate a marking guide for you. Just tell Lens or the AI in Lens what the total mark is. So if your total mark is like 60, just say all these questions has 60 marks or 30 marks, and you generate a marking guide for it, and it will do just that. So this is how it has solved the questions. Of course, you can go deeper. As I've said before, you can dive deeper, and then it will even show you how to solve it, in a more step-by-step way with all the explanations, and then you can copy. However, when you copy from Lens, the mathematical equations tend to change to notations, on the Word document. So that's a bit of a problem there. I don't know why it doesn't, and particularly fractions, they tend not to come the way they are now. Tend to come out, with so much transformation that they are had to be barely readable. So maybe you just have to look through from here and then use it to cross-check whatever you need to cross-check and all that. So similarly, I want to go and take another question, maybe the remaining part of this particular question. I think this is it. Yes. Say I can say solve these questions, and it will do just that. So you can see it's starting from number 3 now. It has scanned and read all the questions, and then it has solved them for you. So that's it. So we can dive deeper. And if you don't have something snapped, if you want to go straight from the textbook or wherever you have the question, you can just click on the lens and then go straight to the, I don't want to be in screenshot, please. So I don't know what's happening. Why am I still here? I want to go to Google Lens on my, okay, I want to open camera. So I've opened the camera. I might just point to one of these questions and I will just say solve it. You can see select. Our last hack for today is identifying objects with Google Lens. This can be done in real time, on the spot, anytime, anywhere. And some of the things we are going to be talking about has already been mentioned, but we are going to put it in another context now. So, for example, why would the teacher need Google Lens to identify objects? Why? Wonder what scenarios. So, for example, you're a science teacher, biology teacher, physics, chemistry, you are arts and history, language and literacy, primary education, and then we can use it for even for specialized situations and for school administrations. So school admins can use it to identify things that they need to buy or they need to know and all that. So for the science teacher, if we are on a nature walk, for example, you can scan unknown leaves, flowers, trees, or bugs. and then try to identify the species on the spot. And the children can gain a lot even on the spot. So there'll be no question of we saw this animal or we saw that bug, but we don't know the name. So it's just a matter of pointing the camera to it, snap it on Google Lens, and identify them. The same thing for geological samples like rocks, minerals, or fossils, anything. You can maybe on a field trip, you can instantly and accurately identify them and get the correct names for such objects. Then we want to identify specimen, quickly. You can identify them, maybe their bones, organs, or microscopic organisms in a lab setting. So you can do that, on the go in a lab setting without needing a reference. Of course, the arts and history teachers can also benefit. You can do art analysis. You can point the camera at a painting or a sculpture to identify the artist, to identify the title, to identify the historical context instantly, on the spot. So those are some of the things that Google Lens can do for art teachers. Then the same thing, historical architecture. So maybe you have a local landmark or a building, or maybe you have gone for an excursion where you have seen an architecture, a strange architecture. You can, or maybe even in educational videos, we can learn about their history and significance by using Google Lens to identify whatever we have found on search. And then we can use Google Lens to identify artifacts like pottery, currency, tools, and all that. So there's it is a limitless situation that you can use it for about anything that you want, especially if it has to do with identification and recognition and explanation. The same way that we explained in the other one under language and literacy, it is still the same way that we can use Google Lens for instant translation. So if you have an object, maybe an Arabic text, a French book with menus, foreign materials. So in real time, you can translate and you see what it is about. So if, for example, you are in France and you want to see the menu, you don't understand, point your lens on it and it will help you to translate, in real time. Then we can identify objects in other languages. We can scan objects to learn their names in a foreign language. We can translate posters. So we will see posters around, maybe in the balls or wherever, school trip, cultural exhibition. We can instantly translate. So we don't have to, it will remove the guesswork from whatever we are saying. It should just take the pointing of the lens to whatever we see, and then we can understand instantly. In the same vein, we can use it, you know, to an enormous advantage for elementary and primary school students. Can help them in vocabulary enhancement. How? For example, you will see any animal, we use the lens to identify it, and the student will see the name. You see kitchen stool, objects in the school. We can see objects at home, objects around the school area. We can learn all the names, and these children can repeat the names after the teacher. It's like a kind of activity for the children. Then word object connection. So it is very related to the first one. You can point the lens at everyday objects and build the reading readiness by connecting the spoken word to the written label. And then outdoor discovery can turn the school garden or the school playground into a vocabulary lesson, for children. They love to play and they learn best through playway method. So you can scan plants, it's be like a game to them. You can scan insects, scan anything, material that you see with the lens, and then we can discover so much information about it. You can read it out to them, you can tell them the names, you can tell them any necessary thing that they need to know. And then for specialized, you know, tasks and administrative uses, for example, we are talking about product identification. If the school manager needs to buy something, or you as a head of school or as the HOD, as a classroom teacher, you can use Lens to find information about books, about resources that you might need in schools, in the school. You can find the summaries, you can find reviews or related digital content. So that is what we mean by administrative uses. Then we can use it to scan QR codes and even barcodes. So if you have any QR code, you can scan it. And then musical instrument identification. So if you scan an instrument during a music class, it will instantly tell you the type, the origin, and maybe the historical background to such instruments. So as you can see, it is limitless. The uses that we can put Google Lens is limitless. So every teacher would have to determine their own use cases, and we have to use it to our best advantage. The whole idea is to make us more efficient and to make our students to be more engaged, to make our students to be to understand more, to understand better whatever it is that we are trying to teach them.
So, assuming that you want to identify an object, maybe, for example, we don't know what the object is, and maybe we found it in a nature walk, or it's something in science, or maybe a shell, could be anything. So, right now, what I have is this that we all know, but assuming we do not know it. So, once we point the Google Lens on it, and then it's able to capture it, then you can ask Lens for what is this. You can ask Lens, so it has captured it completely, and then you can say, what is this? What is this? And they will send. And then watch what happens. Then Google Lens will tell you everything it knows about that object. So as you can see, it is telling us that based on the image, that this is an energy saving LED light, and it now goes on to tell us about the specifications, about the properties of that thing. So, and then the beautiful thing about it is while it is telling you about that thing that you did not know before, it will also bring up more images, more examples of it. So if you are looking for more images like that object, you can see so many below. So you can click on anyone below if you're actually looking for more images. I'm just going to go try it with something that I'm sure many people may not be able to recognize immediately, especially men. So let's say, what is this? Let me see. Let me see what Google Lens we do with this. What is this? Is this? So, wow. So it actually recognized it. It actually recognized it too. So it's an octopus style claw hair clip. So, and then it's already telling us about the properties
of that hair clip, and now it is giving us more images. So you can see more images, you can click on it. If you want more models, if you want to know where you can buy it, if you want to know where, so you can see so many images of it. So that is it. That is the beauty of Google Lens in that regard. Now, assuming that somebody sent you a picture or you have already snapped it before and now you want to check it out. So maybe somebody sent me this and then I want more more images like this. I want more of this style, so I can select. I can just go to Google Lens and then I will say show me more of this. Show me. Even without you saying that, it will show you more automatically. Show me more of this uniform, and then you'll see it showing more of it, and then you can select. So if you are looking for many examples of something, that is another way. Just take a snapshot of that thing and then tell Lens to bring up more examples like that. So as you can see, it's trying to tell us about the picture first and foremost. So even without prompting it, it's telling me what that thing is. And then underneath, I'll now see more images. So I can now choose from all the side that I can scan. Okay, so and then I can say, okay, there's another one, there's another one. Oh, let me check this out. Oh, this one is pink, let me check this out, and then I'll check it out, and under that I'll see many. I say, okay, assuming I'm looking for school uniform styles, so I say, okay, look at this, wow, this is so beautiful, let me see, can I get more like that? Then you see more like that under anyone you click, you definitely get more like it's underneath. So like this now, anything underneath will look like that. So whatever you click on, you get more examples of such underneath. So that's it.